Hey, gun people. Gonna talk about, I forgot, a couple crazy cop stories, and I gotta do a shout out to Michael Montgomery. I don't know, some guy said, hey man, do a shout out to me. Yo, Michael, what's up? Oh man, it didn't do it. Heads and trash can, girl in the police car. What was I gonna cover? Well, let me do the crazy cop story, I guess. Initial contacts. That's what I was going to do. Some guy said, a couple people have been asking, what do cops use? He called them insiders, or what do cops use as excuses to harass people? I'm not going to say that cops use things to harass you, but I will say there are behaviors, or there are ways for cops to kind of advance their agenda. Is it legal? I'm sure the constitutional are going to say, no, it's not constitutional, you can't do it, you shouldn't do it, there's no way, you guys are violating your oath, you're horrible, you're all mean, we can't trust you, all should be hung by a trained shot. Okay, great. For the people who can at least reason a little bit, if I'm contacting a gang member, and I know he's a gang member, and he's got tats, and he's not doing anything wrong, and I can't really do anything, but he's in the neighborhood at night, he's up to no good, I probably should contact him, probably find out if he's on probation or parole, and probably find out if he's got drugs or a weapon on him. So how do I contact him? Well, the constitutionalists are going to say, if he ain't doing nothing wrong, you can't. Well, that's not true. I can walk up, hey, how you doing? I can ask him. Or are you on parole or probation? I can walk up to anybody right now and go, hey, how you doing? I'm Officer Gore, are you on parole or probation? Most people are going to answer. People who aren't are going to go, no, why are you asking me that? People who are on probation are going to be like, man, I don't have to answer that. I know my rights. Why are you at? I want to leave. Am I under arrest? So we call that a clue on those two different answers. So can I walk up to somebody and ask them if they're on parole? Absolutely. Everybody I contacted, again, you got to realize, cops are not out there. I'm not hanging out in front of a business place contacting people on their lunch hour, coming out in suits on a lunch hour going, hey, are you on parole probation? Hey, you mind if I pat you down? Hey, can I? That's not the way it works. Cops are doing that to people who are in areas of high crime, where crime's been committed, who are dressed like gangbangers, who are out there up to no good, who are out riding a bike when they're 40 years old because their license is suspended, or because they can't get a car because they got caught with a stolen car. They don't have a license. I mean, cops contact people that's appropriate for what they're looking for, what they're doing. Cops are not out there just walking around neighborhoods going, police, do you mind if I search your house? We just don't have time to do that. We're either reacting to something that happened, or we're trying to be proactive. If we're on some sort of task force, if we're on a drug task force, we're going after guys we think are using drugs in drug areas, doing things that we know drug people do. If I'm working prostitution, I'm after people who are doing prostitution, who hang out in the prostitution area, by hotels where it's busy, where prostitutes work, where prostitutes have been arrested. So, and then your regular street cops who know their beat, they know in this area, this is what I'm looking for, in this area, this is what I'm looking for, in this area I'm going to get barking dog complaints and I don't ever have any problems and I never have to go here, unless it's a barking dog. So, people seem to think that cops want to just harass and contact everybody. Look, if cops are harassing you and contacting you, you probably got other issues than just hollering, I'm a constitutionalist and the cops have no rights. Because most cops just aren't going around doing that. It'd be like fishing with no bait on your hook. What's the point of throwing out my line and reeling it in and throwing out, knowing I ain't got no bait and my chances of catching a fish is nil to none? So why would I do that? Cops aren't going to do that. When they're out fishing, they want to go in a high area of productivity where they're likely to catch something. They don't just want to fish for no reason and waste their time. So, if I'm talking to you, and most cops, you learn over time how to do that, but usually anybody I contact, again, I'm not contacting people going to work, coming to work, checking their mail at their home, where they own a home, their grass is cut, they look neat, they have a nice car, they don't have piece of shit cars all over the car, they don't have 14 cars with engines in the parking lot, there's not shutters and foil paper on the window. I'm looking for things like that, and then that's how I contact people. And somebody's going to say that's profiling, that's racism, that's financialism, you're picking on the poor, whatever. Look, cops are out there just trying to get people who are engaged in crime and get them off the street, identify them, and do police work. They really don't want to do non-police work. They don't want to harass people just for the sake of, man, maybe I'll get sued. Maybe I get to go to court. Maybe I can get a complaint and I get fired. Yeah, I ain't got nothing else better to do. I mean, the people out there who kind of think that cops around do that, it just amazes me. But, I mean, there's a lot of people who's not from the U.S. that watch my horse videos, and sometimes the questions I get are just amazing. They're just like, hey, man, I'm coming to visit America, and all I see on the news is cops out there shooting people, and they're not doing nothing but holding their hands up. Should I come to America because I'm scared? I'm like, are you kidding me? You believe what the media tells you? That cops are just running around going, hey, dude, put your hands up so I can shoot you. Yeah? Get them higher. Okay, bang. That's what people think are happening in America? I mean, granted, we got some crooked politicians and our country's crooked, but cops ain't out there just shooting people. It's too much paperwork, it's too much hassle, it's too much negative stuff. There is no benefit other than staying alive on why cops shoot people. Period. There's no benefit. You don't get an award, you don't get extra pay, all you get is grief, attacked, name-calling, racism, negative media, you're hated by the community, you're investigated, psychological exams, administration checking policy, people trying to distance themselves from you so when you get sued they don't want to be a residual damage. There's nothing good about a cop shoot. I don't know why people think this cops are around shooting people and then we go home at night, drink, party. Hey man, I got one today, let's go shoot another one tomorrow. Woohoo! It just doesn't work that way. So, anybody you contact, cops are going to be, if they're suspecting a crime, if they're in a high crime area or they think something up, there's a standard question that cops are going to do. If you've got a cigarette, a lot of people smoke when they're nervous. I know it's shocking. Everybody's going to be like, oh, I never knew that. Really? People smoke when they're nervous? Yeah, they smoke when they're nervous. So guess what happens when cops contact most people? Yo, man, what's up, man? Well, I didn't do it. Why are you here? They're lighting up because they're nervous. Okay, so people smoke when they're nervous. Well, bad guys smoke because they know they can flick the cigarette in the cop's eye. They can burn the cop. If the cop reaches for his hand, I can touch his hand and he won't grab my hand. It'll give me another chance to get away. There's all kind of things. I might have some PCP on this cigarette. I pulled out my special cigarette because I know I'm going to jail, so I'm going to smoke my PCP cigarette or my cigarette laced with cocaine or whatever, tar heroin, I got some heroin, whatever it is. There's a lot of reasons why people smoke. Cops don't like people smoking. I think this is how this thing came up, is where this Texas cop was like, put out your cigarette. And somebody goes, that's just an exciter. He just did that to pick on her. Well, he might have. And with his attitude, he probably did. Because if I got nothing else and you're just being a jerk, and I'm trying to figure out a way to punish you for being a jerk and being a pain in my life, then I can come up with things. So if you want to call these insiders, I can say, I smell alcohol, or I think I smell alcohol, or you're acting like a drunk because you're not acting normal. And most normal people wouldn't act that way, so you probably are under the influence of drugs or alcohol, because only a fool would act that way under the influence of alcohol or drugs. Because if you weren't under those, you wouldn't be acting a fool. So that might be an insider. This guy's acting pretty strange and pretty odd, and he's trying to escalate this situation. He's probably on drugs. If it's at night, I can't see your eyes. I can't tell if they're dilated or pinpointed. If I shine my light in your eyes, I can't tell if they're reactive, if they constrict when my light hits it. I can't see any of that unless I start doing an evaluation. Now, I can kind of tell. I can accidentally shine my light at you, then you're going to be pissed. Hey, man, you're burning out my retina. Stop. You can't do anything, but that's one insider, so to speak, as people call it. If you're being a jerk, first of all, if you're being a jerk, my spidey sense goes up, the hair on the back of my neck stands up, and I have to be more aware that, look, this isn't normal, this can go bad quick, I need to gain more control of the situation. How do I gain more control? I make sure your hands are empty. That means empty from bottles, cokes, cigarette lighters, dildos, whatever you have in your hand when I contact you, that can either be used as a weapon or thrown at me or distracting me. I need to get rid of that. And if you start acting like a jerk, I'm going to say, and you're drinking a Coke, I'm going to say, set your Coke on the ground. I don't want your coke in your hand. Why do I have some of my coke on? Well, I didn't get coke on mine. Look, dude, I'm trying to talk to you. You're acting strange. I'm going to do an investigative encounter on you, and I'm going to start asking you a few questions, and one of them is going to be to identify yourself, and I don't want your coke in your hand. So if you refuse to put your coke down, you're going to be interfering with my investigation. You're going to jail. Oh, that's bootleg! Look, am I doing this at a bar for kicks? No. I'm contacting this guy. Cops contact people for a reason. They don't just contact people for GP. So nobody wants to cover that, and it's hard for cops to explain. I can look across a crowd and go, that guy's probably up to no good. Wait, how do you do that? Well, you're just going on color. Well, okay, I can do it with a white, Asian, black, I don't care. I can do it with a male or female. I don't care. Well, you're just doing it on how they're dressed. I can do it when they're dressed trashy or trash good. I don't care if a guy's in a suit. I can scan an area and pick out who I think is up to no good. Now, is that some special talent? Cops just develop a sense on behavior, how people react when they see you. How are they being evasive? The people that immediately starts trying to distance themselves from you. The people that see you and immediately reach, grab, hide, tuck, or move. That's a clue. We call it a clue, and there's a lot of clues out there, just most people ain't watching them. So, when you contact somebody and cops contact you, they're going to want your hands empty. They're going to want you to cooperate. They don't want to hear about the Constitution and about your rights and how they're being bootlegged and all. I mean, all that's going to do is excite them. They're contacting you for some reason. Either where you're at, what time you're at, something just happened in the area. You could be a witness to a crime. You could be a potential victim for a crime. You could be the suspect in a crime. But they contact you for some reason. Is it your right to say, I don't want to talk to you? Sure. Walk away. Okay, if you just want to walk away, walk away. If you want to make a cop put his hand on you to stop you, then make him put his hand on you. If you walk away and I see a bulge that looks like a weapon, I'm going to say, hey, I think that might be a weapon. If it's carried in the waistband, fine. If it's a skull can in your pocket, I'm going to go, hey, what's that round thing in there? Is that a piece of lead to throw at me in the head? Is that a weapon? That's not going to fly. Cops aren't stopping people for carrying a can of skull in their pocket. So, when it comes to cops and ciders, when people are thinking cops out there have these special ways to get people, there isn't really special ways, but if you're under the influence of drugs or alcohol, if you're acting inappropriate, if you're a possible danger to yourself or others, if I can fit you into that area of 5150, in California's 5150 Health and Safety Code that says you're a danger to someone else or others, if you're wandering out in traffic, if you're running up to cops, pulling your cell phone out and pointing at them and going bang bang, you're probably a danger to yourself if you're doing that. I know it's a shock and everybody's going to be like, well, the Constitution says if I want to point my phone at you, I can. Well, it does. And policy says if you do, and I think it's a weapon, I can shoot you. So you can holler the Constitution all the way to the grave, but I'm telling you, if you do stupid stuff, you're going to win stupid prizes, and then you're going to blame the cops. So cops don't approach people, they don't contact people for no reason, they try to identify crimes, witnesses, victims, suspects. They're contacting for some course, some investigation in their job. Sometimes we may contact just to BS. Hey, what's going on? Who's winning the game? You know the score of the game. You know what time it is. You know, hey, did you see anything? We just had a robbery and they said somebody ran by here. Did you see anybody run by? I don't have to talk to you. Constitutional right. Get out of my face. Okay, dude. Whatever. I mean, you can run through life and kick and jump in the middle of every pile of shit you cross, or you can step around the shit and move on. It's up to you. But there's not really insiders. There's not a list. There's not a thing. There's certain things that cops can do that we can kind of manipulate a situation and get it. If your pupils aren't right, if you're licking your lips, if you're displaying signs of being under the influence of drugs, then I can start conducting an investigation for possible the influence of drugs or alcohol. If you got bulges or pockets, if you're trying to cover, if you're wearing bulky clothing, if you're reaching, if it appears you're trying to conceal something, if your behavior and actions lead me to believe that you're acting strange and possibly might be hiding or selling a weapon, I'm going to pat you down, or for my safety, make sure your hands are empty, control how you stand, sit you on the curb, do something till I can figure out why you're acting like a freakazoid. And if you think that's unconstitutional and you want to holler and sue all the cops and run through life like that, that's your business. But there really isn't a list of things that cops get taught in the academy. Okay, if a guy doesn't want to cooperate, you do this. And if that don't work, you do this. And if that don't work, you do this. You just handle it on the fly and you do what you do. And that's talking about cops and ciders, how we contact people. Everybody I contacted got the standard thing. Hey, you got any weapons, hand grenades, needles, anything that's going to stick me? Are you on parole or probation? Okay, are you wanted for any crimes? Have you ever been arrested? I'm asking everybody I contact those questions. And you know what? I get some pretty strange answers. All right, we'll end it there.